Before we jump into this episode, I want to take a moment to tell you about the upcoming Texas Woodworking Festival, a 2-day celebration where makers and enthusiasts come together to share their passion for the craft. Join us for a weekend filled with creativity, community, and inspiration. You'll meet tool manufacturers, furniture makers, woodworking clubs, content creators, and more, all in one place with great food and drinks, and of course, all things woodworking. It all takes place in Austin, Texas on September 13th and 14th. The festival features an educational track on Saturday and Sunday, plus a special pre-conference content creator track on Friday, September 12th. There you'll have a chance to learn from masters of the craft like Gary Rogowski, Matt Kinney, Andy Rawls, and Kate Casey, just to name a few. Head to the TexasWoodworkingFestival.com for more details and to grab your tickets. Use the code MWA25 to get 10% off your tickets. I'll drop a link in the show notes. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, there's something for everyone at the Texas Woodworking Festival. Don't miss it. Welcome to the MWA podcast. I'm Kyle and I'm joined by my co-hosts, Sean and Brian. Today, we're excited to welcome back Andy Meunier as our guest. Andy is a full-time cabinet maker, friend of the show, and operates Swell Furniture, located in the Halloween capital of the world, Anoka, Minnesota. Is that right, Anoka?
You got it.
All righty, fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back to the show, Andy.
Oh, thanks for having me back, guys.
Yes. And if you'd like to check out Andy's previous episodes, they're episodes 437 and 438. So go a little bit into the background of Andy back when he was just a part-time furniture maker.
There it is.
So. Well, before
I'm intrigued actually about the Halloween capital of the world, because I'm actually for my anniversary this year, we might be going to Salem, Massachusetts, because we kind of like Halloween. What about Anoka, Minnesota makes it the Halloween capital?
Well, Sean, it's official with us, and it's not with Salem. Clearly, Salem is much older, but we have the designation. We got that designation in like 2020, I think, or sorry, 1920.
Okay.
So we celebrated our 100th year over the pandemic, which was a bummer, but we were able to do a few things safely. But Salem, clearly much older. I mean, we didn't.
There's different history there, but are you the American Halloween, like lots of carved jack-o'-lanterns, lots of those kind of thing Halloween?
Yeah, so gosh, we have the world pumpkin champion here. He's going on I think 5 or 6 years or something like that. Yeah.
By weight?
Travis Gainer, yeah. I went to high school with him. Yeah. You should look him up. Yeah, it's pretty, and he won I don't know what the grand prize is, like 30 grand or something. So it's pretty big deal.
To grow a big old pumpkin. That's crazy.
Yeah, and he's got his own. He's a horticulture teacher, and he just kind of bred his own seeds to get these insane super pumpkins. And I don't know how much weight they gain per week, but I think by the end of it, it's like 15 pounds or something per week towards the end of the.
But it's just going to be the growing water, season, right? I mean,
an insane amount of water. Yeah, for sure.
In lakes of water. That's
wow.
But it's on a flatbed lowboy behind his truck. Like, it's huge, So it's they're well over 1,000 pounds. So I'm sure you can look it up. But yeah.
Okay, so after Salem, I just might make my way to Anoka.
Dude, come to Anoka. We'll drink some crappy beer together.
All right, I'm in for it. I'm in.
Golden Light.
Go.
Yeah.
Now, do y'all have the pumpkin chunkin'? Where they had build those trebuchets and launch them.
Yeah, man.
Whatnot.
You bet we do. Yep, absolutely.
I miss those shows. They used to be on Discovery.
I went to that in Delaware once.
Pumpkin
Chunkin'
Oh,
World.
you did?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That the best way I can describe that was redneck Mardi Gras.
Sure.
It was a bunch of engineer geniuses
or backyard
and
engineers,
drunk
right?
people.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a good combo. Yeah.
It was like we can throw a barrel on this and pump it full of air and just throw that valve.
Yeah, the trebuchets were the air cannons were fun. That was a good time. Unfortunately, they don't do it anymore. But
yes,
that would be cool. Good.
Well, fantastic. Well, as you can tell, we got a lot to talk with Andy about. Especially, I'm curious about the move from part-time to full-time. But before we do that, since Andy's been on the show before, we're not going to ask him the 5 questions, but we might ask him a couple of questions that have changed since he was last on the show. But before we get to that, let's dip our toes in the woodworking news. So first up, Big announcement. We at the MWA podcast have our first long-term sponsor, and that is Sutherland Wells. And you've probably heard us mention them before. Great finishing company. I won't give you the full blurb on them just yet. I just want to let folks know that we will be having this new sponsor, and they make some great finishes, some great pure real tung wool finishes. So they're absolutely fantastic, and their sponsorship will start on our next episode. But I figured if you are interested in using some of their products, we do have a discount code. It's MWA25, and that will get you 10% off your first order. So I'll have a link to that and Sutherland Wells in the show notes.
That's very cool. Thank you, Sutherland Wells, for partnering with us. That's hopefully going to help a lot of people out seeing the benefits of your product. It's really cool.
Yep, it's really cool. Yeah, I've been using their product for I guess over a year now, and absolutely love it. So it's fantastic to have a sponsorship from something you've actually used and not used because they wanted to be a sponsor.
Right.
I'm afraid to ask if they're listeners and they heard us, because you've talked about their product.
Yeah, I've talked about them. I think they got word that we were talking about them, and they kind of reached out to me, and I said, yeah, we'd be great. And we're also going to have them on the podcast in a month or so too.
Look forward to
That's
it.
exciting.
Yeah.
So that'll be
cool.
good. That'll be great. Next up, speaking of discounts and free stuff, Lost Art Press he's released his new book. It's called Build a Chair from Bullshit.
There you go. Say it, because he can't write it, but
he can't write it, but that's what the book's called. And the book is free. He is going to print copies, so you can buy the book for $21, or you can download a PDF for free. And as Chris likes to do, besides actually making this book free, he's also put out a video series. I believe it's a 12-part video series. It's out on YouTube, where he's got his apprentice, Kel Vaught, and one of her friends, Bridget Grubner, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And they actually did the video where they built the chair from bullshit. And basically what they're doing is they're using readily available home center materials to build this chair. Dowels, construction lumber.
Bullshit is like, you can get this anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. You can go to Home Depot, Lowe's, and get all your tools and including finishing supplies. So, and the video series starts out with them going to Lowe's and Menards to get all their stuff. So
That's wild.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. So you can check that out on Lost Art Press website, and it's also on YouTube too. And we'll have a link in the show notes to that too. Now, also from Lost Art Press, an announcement came out that they are ending their in-person classes as of December of this year. So it's kind of sad. Basically it comes down to insurance reasons. Just couldn't get insurance at a reasonable cost to cover the classes. I think they were on their third carrier, and they ended up dropping them at the end of this year. And they really couldn't find anyone to insure them, period, regardless of cost, from what I understand. So anyway,
I read his piece on that, and it's unfortunate, the way that had to come down, but they had to make that rough decision, because they really, I think they moved into the space they are with the intention to have classes on one floor and other things happening, storage, and just basically a full business operation, including instruction. I wonder if they're going to find some other spaces maybe to use for instruction, just not there.
I
know he's just going to farm himself out. And others,
I know both Megan and Chris are teaching classes at other locations. So that'll continue. But
I wonder if it's his locality kind of
could be
in the city there.
Yeah, could be. But it's sad. I'm glad I was fortunate enough to be able to take a class with him. So
consider yourself one of the lucky ones.
Exactly. So, but like I said, through the end of December. So if you wanted to take a class with Chris, you might want to at least get on a waiting list. You never know. Slots do open up occasionally on those things. But with that, I'll move on to woodpeckers. What would woodworking news be without a stop at woodpeckers? So they have started back their one-time tool, and now they have the one-time tool collector's vault. So over the next, I think, 2-3 years, they're coming out with these quote unquote collector tools. And they're starting off with bench chisels. In fact, I think they're going to have a whole line of chisels. So they're going to
Yeah, it
have
looks like it.
dovetail pairing and all this kind of stuff.
Yep.
But their first one is a four item bench chisels.
Yep.
I forgot what is in the actual item. Is
Quarter,
probably
half, 3/4.
quarter, half, 3/4, and 1 inch.
Bench chisels.
Yeah.
What is it?
What kind of steel?
4.5 inches beyond the ferrule.
Well,
yeah, good question.
Yeah, now this is what interesting. This is basically a blue spruce bench chisel, which they have changed the ferrule and handle on. And of course, the handle is red anodized aluminum. So this is truly for your woodpeckers collector, that you need all the red anodized you can get, and you want it on your chisels. So it looks like a pretty nice.
It looks very nice.
They did a really nice job with the chisels. The only issue I have, of course, is, pricing. And I can understand the pricing because the handle is a lot more intricate, a lot of machining, a lot more costly to make than the blue spruce. But it is for a 4-piece set. It's $519 or say $520.
Sure.
Yeah. The same set with a wood handle over at blue spruce is $370.
Okay. So they're adding $150. Yeah, $150 in their handle tech. I don't know what an aluminum octagonal. It looks like octagonal, kind of grind on there. Yeah. What that feels like in use.
Yeah, it's just like when you hit a baseball with an aluminum bat back in the old days. You hit it wrong, you're like,
Little League
like,
baseball
is that
bat,
gonna be
it's gonna
bad vibration, like chip, hogging out a mortise or something? Or?
Like something like that. Like I'd want to take apart to see how the tang goes through. So is it like a full tang threaded kind of deal, or is it?
They have a video that does show a little bit of basically how it's constructed, and like I said, it looks good, and it's basically a combination of using the blue spruce steel with the anodized aluminum. So
yeah, I mean, I hate to make the comparison, but I mean, I trust the blue spruce blade. I question the woodpecker's handle.
I'm sure it's fine.
But for the price, there's no way. I'll buy wood.
I wouldn't for the price, but I think this is why this is the collector's fault. This is really for a tool collector, a woodpecker's tool collector.
Yeah, like
if you have to have everything.
Yeah.
Why would the butt of this is scribed with 2025 on it? I hit chisels with hammers all the time. I mean,
you're gonna and an aluminum.
Yeah,
so it's
gonna
ding like crazy, no matter what you hit it with. You know what? I'll hit that aluminum dome that says 2025 on the back of the handle with my blue spruce mallet.
Yeah, there you go.
And it will just turn into a flattened whatever shape.
Yep.
It's an interesting decision. I would want to purchase tools to be able to use them. These look like wall pieces at an exorbitant price.
Yeah.
Because of the quality of the manufacturing is phenomenal.
Yep.
But all for what?
Yeah. And I'm sure this is why they're calling it a collector's vault.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they know this is going to be small batch, not many.
And it's just going to be for tool collectors, basically.
Yeah.
So
you remember Fred? Fred would have bought one.
Possibly, but I thought it was interesting anyway. So
it is interesting. I mean, I'm
and like I said, they're bringing back the one-time tool, so hopefully they'll have some more stuff out there.
They have a plan for this collector's vault chisel schedule going out to 2029. So as we're recording that is 4 full years from now.
Wow.
On a looks like twice, maybe 3 times a year schedule. So you could absolutely just fill your shop with different forms of similar things with skew and butt chisels and dovetail chisels and mortise chisels. I mean, the mortise chisels undoubtedly will be more. There's a lot more blade going on there, and there's more of them. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how this saga continues. But I'd be curious to be on the business side going, how many of these are we actually making?
Right, because they're only opening up orders for 4-week windows. So
yep. And so those will be delivered sometime after, and it's like this is a idea and then only make what you sell scenario. And I know that's what they do, and that's good for them. I wonder how successful this might be for them. That's very interesting. High price point. Very high price point.
I would venture to bet they've done some good market research on this, because for them to commit to say, hey, we're doing this over the next 4 years.
Yeah. But if you look at machining, just of the red part, putting an octagon, but putting a round, a round bevel on both sides to match a particular diameter, that is a lot of detailed machining. And I know they have the machinery to do it, and it's probably simple for them, but that's a lot of detail.
Yeah.
Even if it was in wood, that's a lot of detail.
Yeah, and that basically explains the price difference. But yeah.
Yeah, because one of the things, like the thing about, like, if you think of like Lee Nielsen chisels, the way that the handle sockets into the socket of the chisel, there's something satisfying about like driving that thing in and making it fit, where this is like a mechanical connection inside it, and you're just pinching the reducing section there. It's just, I don't know. There's something hard about this. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the socket chisels like the Lee Nielsen. That's why I like them, is because, hey, if I need a butt chisel, I can just knock the handle off, and I got a short chisel. Or if I need a longer handle, I can turn a longer handle, which I've done. Yeah.
I have a gift card that I've been holding on to far too long because I can't bring myself to spend the money to even buy the Nielsen chisels, but I might. I really might, because I think that'll be the next. The main chisels I got from Lee Valley, they're the Narex stuff. They're great, but they're not great. I wouldn't mind something actually really, really good.
Oh, well, if you get the Lee Valley PVM11, that's probably runs neck and neck with the.
Yeah, I think it does. The Narex isn't quite that. I think it's just it's not A1, but it's a more common tool steel. And they're great. They sharpen great, but they also wear kind of quick. And I know that's what they improve on, but yeah. I don't know. There's also something in my mind that I would like some Lee Nielsen. Sorry, we're talking over Woodpecker's ad, but I'll say that I would gladly pay for a finely crafted wood handle, nice steel chisel for the same price point. If I were to get a 4-pack for $500, I want it to last my lifetime. I think aluminum is not a lifetime.
Yeah.
Especially an impact tool.
Yeah.
I think there's a problem there.
Yeah.
Well, all I gotta say is, if you're a tool collector, you better get on this now, because you don't want to get on this bandwagon in 2026 and have missed the 2025 bench chisels. Can you imagine what those are going to go for on eBay?
4-week window, yeah.
What's that? My oldest son likes to say, "Oh, if you don't start drinking in the morning, you can't drink all day."
That's right. Well, with that, let's give our patrons a shout out. So, who do we have to thank this week?
For sure. We'd like to give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters today. We're giving that particular shout out to our newest patron, Morgan Grove. Thank you, Morgan, for joining in and helping support us. And if you would like to join Morgan in the support of the MWA podcast, you could do that by going to patreon.com/MWA podcast.
Fantastic. And he's actually on our next round of guests, Morgan is.
We like,
and he didn't have to become a patron to be a guest. I invited him.
Buy your way on the show.
Not a requirement.
Not a requirement.
Do a little name
recommendation, but not a requirement. No, just joking.
People are going to look for him, get a little more following before we. Oh, it's he's a marketing.
Yeah.
Well done,
No. I invited him to be a guest, and then he popped up, and I was going, "You didn't have to do that." He goes, "I've been meaning to for a long time," and this finally pushed me over the edge. So, okay.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool.
That's cool. Well, let's move on to what's in the shop. So, Brian, what are you working on?
A lot of stuff going on. Last time I was on the show, I had resigned from my other job, so I started my new job almost 3 weeks ago now. It's a little overwhelming.
Drinking through the fire hose still?
Yeah, it's the fire hose analogy, but if you threw like little metal balls
full of
acronyms.
Oh no.
So yeah, it's like learning a whole new language.
Brian, I work for a very large company right now, and they have an acronym library.
Yeah.
That I've read, I've parsed through. I can't say I read through. It is alarming.
Yeah.
Love that.
So that's fun. But you got to do what's best for you and your family, right? So it was time to move on. Usual kid stuff taking me all over the place. Some changes with where they're living in the country. Lots of sports stuff. And then we're still marching along on the wife's office renovation. I I finally got off. I'm a little bit of a procrastinator sometimes, so I had to make this ellipse that spanned 6 feet 7 inches. So I ended up looking up the 3 screw and a string method with a major and minor access.
Yes.
Works fantastic, except don't use a string that stretches.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I learned that the hard way because I did the front.
Yeah.
I'm like, this looks pretty solid, right? No problem. And then I had pre-marked the back, so they should match when I cut this through. And by that point, I had stretched the string out a little bit, so the ellipse in the back doesn't quite meet. But I cut there's some wooden supports that come down that the bent wood will attach to.
Yep.
And I left that a little long, so that's fine. The molding.
So you were just cutting the drywall to the arch.
Yeah.
Basically. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but that's done. So I'm doing just the the taping of the corners to the ceilings. Everything else is going to be okay. I think nothing's really gone. I hate to knock on wood, but nothing's gone seriously wrong yet.
So water lines or anything good?
No, I almost got a power line. Well, I told the story when the RotoZip router bit broke and went flying in the wall. It was full of debris and dust, but that thankfully didn't catch on fire. So I think we're good. I think we're going to get the drywall done. Once that's done, we can take down the plastic. The wife can paint. All the lights are ready to go. And then it's time to make a bunch of bookshelves, slide them in.
Yeah.
Now, your wife working out of that space yet?
No, she's working from the dining room table. She's only got like a week and a half of school left. Then she'll be off for the summer. And then she has very politely threatened my life if it's not ready by the time she starts in the fall. So,
you got the summer though. You got months of the nicest weather to be recreational outside. You got all that time to be inside slaving.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good. And I'm glad that we have this new sponsorship with Sutherland Wells because I have to make some wood flooring. And I was thinking, what do I want to use Osmo for it? What do I want to use? So I might give them a good try here.
Hey, there you go.
And use my MWA558 discount code for 10% off. So yep, that's my life. A lot of stuff going on. I don't sleep much. And I think I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but I started a little side gig doing sports recruiting.
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Videography. Yeah, it's busy. I'm going to big things across the East Coast.
You're traveling a lot?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's all kinds of weather. So I've gotten used to having very expensive camera gear out there in driving rain, and but it's neat. It's interesting to see the level of play and that we have in youth sports now. It definitely wasn't like that when I was a kid. So
yeah, it's evolving. Like you're just a few years after my experience through that, like what my kids were exposed to, and it's wild to see. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah. So that is pretty much my life. Sean, how about you?
I spent a lot of time using my chainsaw recently. It's been a couple weeks since we recorded. So my neighbor had one of these. I can say they're shady because of what they did to him. One of these, hey, we're working in the neighborhood. Anything you want done? And convinced him to spend $3,500 to take down a very large sections of a couple oak trees that were overhanging, partly dead. If it would have fallen, it would have come down on the house, kind of thing. And a dead cherry tree that was off to the side, and some others. But they dropped them and they started sectioning them. They claimed that they hit metal, took his money and bounced. Said, you ruined a chain, we're done. Like it's his fault. It's a chain. Yeah, I know. I agree. So he texted me, this is some weeks ago. Hey, we're getting the crew together. My uncle, my brother, other neighbor on the other side. Hey, if you could bring your saw, we'll have 4 or 5 saws going. We're going to try to cut up this stuff. And I'm talking like, I have an 18-inch bar on my chainsaw. I'm a steel chainsaw. And I can't get through the biggest stuff. It's like 3-foot diameter, half of a tree kind of stuff. But for 4.5 hours in a day, I went through 4 tanks of gas in my saw, sharpened it once in between, and wore the hell out of my forearms running that saw. But we made hella good marks, and like my oldest son came over, his son came over. just to like clean up. So there was a lot of just me running, and my son actually a promotion of steel chainsaws. Not that they're the only brand in the world, but my son noticed, because I wasn't looking up, I was head down kind of working, that every other saw in the yard that was not steel was stopping to work on, to adjust, to restart. There's such things. My saw needs help. The clutch is worn. It runs too much, but and I need a chain. But anyway, and then the next week, like it was 8 days later. It's a Sunday. I run in the morning. I come home. I mow my wife's grandparents' lawn because it's whatever. I figure I'll do that before I shower. My son comes home from church and goes, "That tree needs." I went, "Huh?" I mean, yes, we have this, like, it's probably a 45 foot pine tree on the side of the yard that died a couple years ago. It's completely void of green, fir blades, whatever, like
Needles.
Needles. Thank you. And years ago, I mean, I'm talking 15 years ago, we like strung lights in it, and those died, haven't been connected since, and they're just hanging in there, and squirrels have chewed it apart and stuff, whatever. And so I was actually working on the clutch on my chainsaw, and he goes, "Come on, let's do it today." And I'm like, Ugh. My wife was out in the community garden helping weed for the spring season, and we had just moved the cars, and I had gotten my saw back together, and he goes, "Uh-oh, Mom's home. We're not going to do this." And she got out of the car. She goes, "What the hell is going on?" I was like, "It was his idea. It was fine." So he put a stick in the yard where he thought I would drop it. I dropped it within 2 feet of it, which was awesome because I hit my mark.
Yeah.
Because like she was like, "Don't hit the wires." I'm like, the wire are 40 feet in front of it. Like, I'm not going that way. If it spins that way, it's got to go through another tree to get there. Anyway,
and the house, yeah.
Yeah, and the house is the other direction. Yeah, so it really is one of those things where, like, I'm even questioning myself a little bit, but like, this thing has to drop that way. I cut the notch that way.
Yeah.
But I dropped it, and then I went right to the top because it was kind of balancing on its longer branches. So it was like literally like suspended almost parallel to the ground was this tree, which was maybe 15, 16 inches in its base diameter. I only say that because I have an 18-inch bar and I got through it. But so I go to the top, and I cut the very top of it off. I cut the branches because pine trees just all run out. I don't know that, like, horizontal to the post. They just go pop, 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 and poke out sideways. So I'm trimming off and then cutting the central post as I go. And about 4 or 5 cuts in, my forearms just start just flaming up from the work I did 8 days ago, lifting my saw up, and I'm working like at my chest height, to do this stuff. And I'm just like, so I'm taking all these rest breaks, just like doing. But in about an hour, my son, it was his idea, he took to just cleaning up everything I dropped and took it all out to the back to the fire pit. And so now I have a stack of pine logs about 4 feet high, about 6 feet wide, and a stack of pine branches that are taller than that because of all the air in them.
Yeah.
Just out there. And so for the last couple days, we've been out, well, especially over Memorial Day weekend, a couple days of burning fires and burning through that stuff. Pine burns very quickly for a campfire, but it's decent. It just doesn't burn hot, and it doesn't burn long. Yeah, but I used the shit out of my chainsaw in the last couple of weeks. I'm looking into a longer bar. My saw, I looked like I can handle a 20-inch bar, which will help with what's left of my neighbors because there's more to go through. A longer bar will help, but I've also looked at a shorter whole machine. Like, I wouldn't mind like a little 16 guy with a smaller motor on it because it's just lighter to move around. But
yeah, it's probably wise.
It's a fair amount of money to get into all that. Like the bars and chains are easy. The motors are the hard part. Like those are expensive.
Well, what did you get any decent wood out of any of this?
No, I mean, so it's oak and cherry.
Yeah.
So yes, I will say I've never had so many thoughts about spoon carving than I was cutting these pentast branches.
Yeah.
That were like 2-3 inches thick. Off of this oak tree.
Well, you need to do it.
I know. Yeah. I don't have a hook knife. I need things.
Hey, doesn't Lee Valley have one of those kits?
They do.
Probably.
Do.
Yeah, I should probably invest.
Yeah. That
But
this be your
absolutely,
second kit?
because my neighbor was like, anything. You want anything? You want more? Okay, what we can put in your yard? Like, so I already have some logs in my yard. Like, it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there was a dead cherry, and then these were very live red oak. So they're still very green as
Yeah.
they've been fallen. And then I've got some big old sections to go through, probably 20 to 30 inches wide in diameter.
You just need to throw those logs on a trailer. You can go visit Andy, stop by Matt Cremona's place, and have him slice those up for you.
Did you see? I mean,
There you go.
so, did you see what Matt just posted the other day? He got some like a big old elm tree taken down.
Mm-hmm.
The one section that he fit on his trailer was 7,500 pounds.
Whoa!
Like, dude, like that's amazing. And then he got like base of the tree cuts. He said the one piece was 900 pounds by itself, just a slice of the trunk.
Dude, that's
heavy stuff. But he's got heavy machinery, so
yes,
he can do that kind of. But no, trailering. Oh wait, I don't have a trailer hitch or a trailer. Any of this to Cremona. He's got to be 12 hours away from me. That would be an undertaking. But never say never.
Yeah.
Can't do it in your Tesla, Brian. You wouldn't be doing that.
You'd be amazed what I put in that thing. I set up 600 square feet of tents for a regional club championship, plus tables and chairs and inflatable couches, and all that fit in the car. People just they wanted to see me repack it because they didn't believe me.
It's like, this is a clown car. What are you doing? Where do you put it all? That's crazy. All right, so Kyle, after all that, what are you working on?
Not much. No.
Not much. Let's move on.
No, it's I've had a nice break. I've been getting orders out, but that's same old. I guess, well, I had to take a trip to a place called Chillicothe, Texas, which is about 15 miles west of Vernon, Texas, which is about 50 miles west of Wichita Falls, Texas. Y'all might have heard of Wichita Falls, Texas, maybe. But anyway, so this is out in West Texas, Northwest Texas, right near the Oklahoma border. But it's my uncle who died a few months back. It was his burial, so family plot, that kind of thing. So we took a trip out there. So that was fun. Kind of, we were there for a sad occasion, but I mean, he lived till 90. It was a good run and very interesting dude. I was talking to my cousin. I've joked with him about this before, but I go, okay, now can you tell me what your dad actually did? Because I have no idea. So he's one of those guys that he was in the Army, I guess, a little bit after Korea. And he left the Army, GI Bill, got a degree in physics and mathematics, went to work for the, I guess, the Naval Observatory, where the vice president lives up in DC now, and worked there for a while, then was working for the Department of Army, was out at White Sands for a few years. I guess the last part of his career, he was a senior fellow at the Army War College.
Wow.
So anyway, and he's also a computer programmer guy too, going way back when. So kind of interesting, and not sure how much of this I'm going to keep in the podcast, but anyway.
Keep it in there.
Yeah, but between us, it was pretty interesting stuff. The one thing we did is after the burial ceremony, my cousin says, "Hey, in Vernon, there's this place called the Vernon Parts Sports Bar." He goes, "Why don't we go there?" And I go, "Yeah, it's fine. Let's meet up about 7:30 or so." So we met him up there and had a few beers. And this is a typical West Texas bar. I mean, it's one of those places where they have both kinds of music, country and Western.
Yeah.
And we had a good time there. And then about 10:30, a fight broke out.
Oh, it's like a scene from the Blues Brothers. Basically, band performing behind chicken wire.
Yeah. And we left shortly after that, not because we'd already requested our check. It was paying for it when the fight broke out. But anyway, so we got in our cars and we're driving, and this place is like a block off the town square where they got the courthouse with the square all around it. And also we saw one of the guys involved in the fight by the courthouse doing push-ups. Just sitting there doing push-ups. And we drove by him, he's doing push-ups, and we come to the next light because at the square or stop sign, and all of a sudden he comes sprinting by us, just running as fast as he could, Tom Cruise type running.
That's CrossFit. Gotta be CrossFit.
But I guess he's working out some energy. Yeah. So anyway, so that was fun. But besides that, me and a bunch of my college buddies are meeting up in July. So I'm making bottle openers for all of them. So I'm turning a bunch of stuff, which is kind of interesting because I do a lot of turning for the jigs I make and stuff, but I don't make anything decorative. So it's like, oh, I need to get the spindle gouge out for this and the detailed spindle gouge out. Go ahead and use this in a couple of years, So I went through all that kind of stuff.
Back to school.
Yeah, let me practice on this for a little while. So anyway, I made a nice little piece, but unfortunately, by the time I was practicing, it was too little to actually use.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
But anyway, so I've made a couple of them already, but I got about 8 more to make. But that's been fun. So yeah. So with that, Andy, what have you been working on in your shop?
Still working on some dining chairs from a couple years ago, actually. So it's kind of been a bit of a challenge with those, but making some progress. But I actually took a pretty big leap of faith and quit my corporate job, and was able to get hired on at a custom cabinet shop here locally that does both cabinets and furniture. So it's a pretty fun gig.
Oh, cool. So what are you doing for them? Just anything that needs to be done?
Yeah. So the first project they had me working on, they're like, "Hey, you're gonna make a 7-foot diameter pedestal dining table." I was like, "Okay," and all out of red oak. And I mean, the base was like basically built around like an 8x8 miter folded cube or kind of box. Okay. And then, typical pedestal. So you got your braces coming up to the core, and then up to the top, and the braces go up to the top too for your tabletop supports. But it's been fun. Basically, it was really, I don't know. It's one of those points in your life where you look back and you're like, man, that probably happened for a reason. I was super bummed out at my my full-time job. Brian, you can probably relate. We got acquired by a company. Fired all the original management. Put their own in. Not a good place to be. And I was having dinner one night with my architect buddy, and I was telling him how bummed out I was, and he's like, as an architect, I can't really recommend clients to like, hey, I'm designing this space with furniture in mind. Wow. He's tried, a couple of times for that, but it's more of, you're creating the space, not the stuff that goes in the space, right? Mm-hmm. But he's like, hey, I've got this guy who's been looking for. He does custom work. He's looking for somebody who can do both cabinets and furniture. And a couple of days later, he called me up, and it's kind of funny because the week before, I was like complaining about my job. My wife's like, you don't have to work there. I was like, you know what? You're right. I don't. And then
you are right.
A week later, something I hired on. So it's called Partners Woodcraft. They're not huge on Instagram, but they do some really interesting architectural driven work. So it's been super fun to geek out on that. So
that's awesome.
Oh, cool. Super fun. I know you're a big fan of, especially the mid-century modern type look and stuff like that. So any of that stuff coming through the shop?
It kind of depends. Lately, we've been doing pretty modern. I don't know if you saw the last one. I haven't been sharing too many stories just because it's like, it's not my stuff.
Right.
But the last place we did was really cool. It was like a Bond villain lives there. It was really, really crazy. Really neat modern A-frame. So they do a lot of modern weird stuff, and that's challenging. I mean, it's not just making a box to fit in an angled house. It's making a box to fit into 4 of the things that are built into it. So it's definitely fun. Definitely pushes your skills, but it's a whole different world than making chairs for sure.
Yeah. Now, what about are you using different types of materials like metal and wood, or is it just strictly wood?
Funny you say. Here's some great podcasting. I've got this stuff called Rich Light. This is it's a cool product. So basically, what it is. for everybody on the
It looks like
line.
a book.
It looks like a
Yeah,
book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, what it is so it's for those listening, it's 5/8 Baltic birch, and then it's sandwiched between 2 1/8 inch, basically compressed paper, and
like micarta, like epoxy and paper kind of thing.
it's like skate light if you're familiar with that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's incredibly hard. Like it's hell on carbide. Like
Yeah. Okay.
this will destroy a
Yeah.
pair of fish drill bits like they're from Home Depot. Like it's crazy. So you got to pre-drill everything, but it's really cool. So I've got to work on some interesting stuff like that, and but like I said, that dining table was really fun to jump into. So that was a big one. But it's a whole different thing. Like between it's much different when you're making furniture on your own in your own space, and then okay, I got to make a 7-foot diameter dining table in a cabinet shop that's got 3 kitchens in it, 2 bathrooms in it. Like it's way different. Like because we have I think it's a 37-inch time saver, so I had to make the table top up in about 30-inch sections or so. And when you're talking like 8 foot, before you cut the circle out, 30 inches wide, like that's kind of a nightmare to go through all the kitchen cabinets and everything else. So it's a task just moving the stuff around, man. And when it's together, like, hey, guess what? I got to move an airplane through. It's a whole different thing. So, but it's been super fun. My boss has been really, really good. I mean, and again, like the difference between furniture making and cabinet making is it's kind of the same. Some of the things translate, but like it's the pace. Like you got to go quick. You can't take forever to work on a transition that's perfect. It's like, well, good is perfect. You know what I mean? Perfect is that we just lost money. So
time is money.
Man,
my dad always said that. Like if he took a class and he made a couple of cabinets and he's like, I could never do this because I'm far too and it takes too long to get those details. Like you can't be successful.
Now now you mentioned the time saver. What other cool machinery do they have there?
It's pretty old school. We don't have a CNC or anything, but we got a big Holzer panel saw. So it's not a slider, but it's on the wall. But it can do like 12 feet. It's crazy. So we can do big stuff there. So it's cool. Got a couple table saws, an old PM66, and he's got a new 5-horse saw stop. So that's nice because I have one at home. So familiar with that. But it's funny because like this whole thing has taught me like you don't need fancy or like big stuff to do big things. So that 7-foot table I did it on a 6-inch jointer.
Wow.
So it's a DJ15, right? An old Delta. And I was like, dude, how am I going to joint these? Like there's, because even when you get them rough or kind of like S3S, they're pretty close, but like it's not uncommon to have, a 10-foot board and you might have an 1/8 or even a 1/4, hump between the ends. Yeah. Like a 6-inch jointer ain't taking that out. My boss said, let's put some rollers up, you'd be fine. I'm like, oh God. But we got there in the end, and it's kind of it's like I have a bigger joint in my house than we do at work.
Yeah, I take these home.
I kind of thought about a couple pieces. I'm like, how am I going to do this? But made it work. So yeah, it's kind of fun.
Wow. Well, that's cool. That is cool. Now, so you're still running Swell Furniture though for your commission type work and stuff like that too.
I am, yeah. So I'm still doing that. I haven't taken on much just because we're booked out a long time, and that's awesome. At the same time, it is stressful. Yeah, it's like, hey, if you mess up on this, like, oh, we don't got much left. Like when we did that, the Rich Light job, that was almost $100,000 in just material.
Oh wow!
And it was an 1,800 square foot house. Like this stuff is insane. So this 4x8 is $900.
Wow.
So
that's crazy.
Don't make mistakes.
Yeah, don't make mistakes.
It's what it comes down to.
Wow.
So it's just a different scale. It's awesome because it's like, as an architecture nerd, cabinetry is the one part of architecture where the software is the hardware. You're interacting with it. It does really cool things. It can be kind of sneaky. You pull a drawer open, all of a sudden there's lights there, like, whoa. Or it can be, pretty simple. Like, hey, this isn't even sock close, this is touch latch type of thing. But it's cool to be able to work on the architecture that people interact with pretty much the most.
Mm-hmm.
From a nerdy
cool.
standpoint, yeah.
And now, what did you call that material again? That's
called the
$900
Rich Light. Yeah. So, and this crazy house we did.
I assume it doesn't need to be finished or anything like that.
So for this, again, awesome podcasting. It's got like a leathered finish on it. So basically, you just take like a maroon 3M Scotch-Brite, just put on a sander, and then you're gonna braid it lightly. And it's really common to use hard wax oil. So we used Osmo on the whole job, which is nice because you don't worry about dust nibs, you know.
Yeah.
At the same time, it certainly does have its drawbacks because if you scratch this, it's unrepairable.
It's permanent. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, you got to sand past that leathered look.
Yeah.
So unless you want to sand it completely smooth, which would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's you're kind of in for it. It is hard wearing, but I don't know if I'd use it as a
not
counter.
Scratch resistant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what are they using this material for?
They use it for the cabinets, the countertop, unfortunately.
Ooh. Oh man.
Yep. Bunch of wall panels, and I'm trying to think what else. They actually use it on the siding outside. Some of it, like,
oh, really,
it's crazy. And the whole house is like, it's a net zero house, so it's got a Tesla battery wall. It's completely off grid. So and the whole house is like eco-friendly, or there's like zero VOC stuff to it. Yeah. So that's another thing that this is nice. Although, like, if you look at this is definitely Baltic birch from Russia. Like, that's formaldehyde resin glue, brother. That ain't eco-friendly. So, but
that'll be off gassing for a couple of years.
There you go.
There it is.
But no one has to know. So it's pretty cool.
It's that fresh new home smell.
Yep, exactly. Yep, exactly. So it's been fun.
Oh, well, fantastic. Well, so have you been designing anything recently?
No, it's cool because we've done some really cool projects for interior designers. Yeah. So again, I really feel guilty kind of showing some of it, so I kind of only keep it to my close friends when I share it on stories on Instagram. But it is cool. We do have some really cool projects coming up, which I'm excited to share, hopefully. But yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about that, but it's kind of weird. It's cool to, hey, look at this cool placement. Here's this weird thing I did, but it's like, this is this really fancy, world-renowned architect's work. So it's like, well, I don't know if I should share type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's cool to go there, and it's funny too because I'm the only. I mean, most cabinet makers probably don't like architecture. I don't know if they would, but so I'm like, oh, look at this cool house. And my buddies, my coworkers just roll their eyes. Oh, this is gonna be a pain in the butt. Look at all those angles. Yeah. But it's fun.
It's fun. So. Well, cool. Well, so tell us a little bit about your shop. Has it changed much since we last talked?
No, I mean, I kind of kept it the same. It's only like 400 square feet. Perfect for chairs. And
yes, it is.
Yeah, so you don't need much. I guess I did do some bigger projects right before I joined. I did a bigger live edge slab floating shelf that folds down in front of a window. So it's like a standing desk that in front of a window that overlooks a lake. So that was kind of cool. That was a bigger one. That was a little harder to manhandle, but yeah, pretty much kept things status quo. It is nice to be able to use. I mean, our shop isn't big. I think it's like 5,500 square feet, so it's actually pretty small. But we've got that big wide belt. We've got a spray booth in house, so it's definitely we punch above our weight for sure.
It's efficient though. Like, I mean, you guys have a space for everything.
Yeah, exactly, and it's
cool.
It's wild when I mean, that last house is pretty small, but the house we did before that was so big. It was like, God, we've got, a kitchen, a bar, 5 bathrooms, and like a couple powder rooms worth of stuff. And it fits. Like, how's that happen? Like,
it's amazing.
It's crazy. We stack it 20 feet tall, but that's all good. So
that is cool. That's cool. So how long have you been working with this company?
I started in October.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so my Swell Furniture has not been as productive, just because like it's kind of full gas, which is nice. It's definitely a great change, and it's cool to be able to learn new stuff. I'm 45 and I'm the youngest guy at the shop, so that's kind of wild too. But it's super fun. It's cool to take the skills you learned making chairs and apply it to cabinets too, because some of it translates for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Yeah, for sure.
So you're only 45. Wow, you have the Sean Wisniewski genes then.
Yeah.
Dude, it's Minnesota. Like, we only see the sun 6 months of the year.
Yeah, that helps.
That's true.
I was just gonna say, like,
We don't see
I'm
the sun, man.
47 and I'm
Yeah.
among the oldest who I'm working with right now, but it's
Oh,
a
sure.
huge overchange.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. Like, you do it long enough, and they may say like, "Hey, why don't you take the reins?"
Sure.
Could turn into something.
It's funny too, because like the difference, like when I was making that giant table, when you make them up in those big pieces or those big sections or whatever, and we've got 4 guys to glue these panels together, so we didn't use any like dominoes or lamella or biscuits, because you got a bunch of guys. So basically what we did was we just kind of lined them up, lined all the clamps up from one end to the other, and tighten it down a little bit. If it's a little proud or whatever, if you're a little low, you can kind of manipulate it with a bunch of hands, right, and keep going.
Mhm.
And invariably, when you glue a 7-foot table together, you're going to have some high spots and low spots. And we were a little high on one spot, and one of my coworkers like, it's going to take forever to sand. I'm like, sand? I'm like, watch this. I grabbed my cabinet scraper, my old number 80, 3 passes, and all of a sudden it was flat. I was like, what is that? Like, it's a cabinet scraper, dude. You're a cabinet shop. Like,
Come on now.
Wizardry.
Yeah. And it's like, I mean, it was probably, a strong 30-second. Like, that would take forever to stand.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
dude, it's dead nuts. Like, put a ruler on that thing. It's flat as flat can be. So it's cool to be able to say, hey, the first thing you grab shouldn't necessarily be a power tool, even in a cabinet shop.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
guess what? And no dust. You didn't turn on
Yep.
anything. So that was kind of funny. But
No, that's awesome. I mean, obviously, like I don't know how long that shop's been around, but a lot of time has been spent on machinery and efficiency. Like, let's pump this out as quick as we can.
Yep.
And then you can impart something like, hey, we don't have to do that there. This is actually quicker, like legitimately quicker.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's kind of funny. But
Yeah. So did you sell a bunch of cabinet scrapers?
Yeah. Like, they're like, where'd you get that thing? Where can I get one?
No, they're pretty old school. I mean, to your point, the shop's been around since I think the 90s.
Okay.
And two of my coworkers, great guys. They bought the company from one of them's dads, and then they just kind of carried it on. So, but it's funny, since then transition, they've kind of stuck to architectural stuff. So it's not like you're running the mill, working with a builder, working with suppliers. It's custom. So that's another challenge. It's every job is different. So what you did last week, so it's like, God, your brain just hurts at the end of the day. It's like, man, it takes brains to do this.
But at least you're not building the same box over.
That's
and over.
true.
Yeah, it could
for
be
sure. Yeah.
absolutely draining to do the same thing over and over and over again. If you got like I used to, when I was framing, we were with some builders, not like massive builders, but like there were guys that were building like 10 homes a year.
Oh, sure.
And you'd see the same stuff go in though. So yeah, if you were the cabinet shop that was working with that, you'd just be doing the same thing over and over again.
I'm not. Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah,
do it
be glad you're not doing that. Like, that's a functional difference between
custom and
custom and not custom, and that's really cool. So, and it might be a little slower, a lot different, a little more stressful, but at least you're not doing the same thing every week, every day, every project. That's really cool.
It is cool. And to do furniture too, like we work with designers, so I'm sure I'll get another table, or lately I've been doing beds like crazy, which is
that's cool.
kind of challenging too. So, but anyway.
Beds, wow.
Built-in beds, man. When you got money, you don't buy furniture. You just build it into the house.
Like Murphy style, or
no? So this one, I should just ask my boss if I could share it. It's actually a really cool house. But basically, it's the main section of the house is a typical A-frame, and then there's like a reverse A-frame on the other side, so it kind of the triangle points down instead of up.
Oh, I saw a picture of this. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So the bed, and it's all scribed into the wall and then scribed into the floor. So it just looks like it's completely built in. But anyway, yeah, it's it's stuff like that. And I think the cool thing about that is, clearly the more you do it, the more notoriety you get. Like, we don't advertise. We only work with 6-8 architects and designers, and that's just, it's like a year backlog. It's crazy,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And to get that level of stuff, like, people are willing to wait. They're just used to, okay, if I'm going to build a house like that crazy house we just did, it took 3 years to build that house.
Wow.
It's
gorgeous.
Nuts. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Wow. Yeah, it is. Yeah. You should run the social media for your
I
shop.
should,
Yeah.
man. They don't have anything on there, and like, all
Yeah.
the cool architects follow them, but they don't. And I get it. Like, my boss is like, hey, if I'm on social media, I'm not working on plans to get you cutting wood. So makes sense.
Need some college intern to run around.
I know,
There you go.
yeah, for sure.
Well, man, that sounds cool. That sounds cool. It sounds
Mhm.
like a dream come true for you. I mean, you've always had that architectural leanings and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, it
It's-
seems like most of the stuff's pretty modern styling too, right?
Very modern, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, it's been super cool. Super grateful.
So you haven't walked into someone wanting a craftsman bungalow or something yet.
No, it's funny. The Airbnb we stayed at was to do that weird house in Shell Lake, Wisconsin, was a traditional craftsman.
Mm.
And apparently this craftsman house was in the family since it was built.
Mm-hmm.
And they had this brochure from the builder, and to build that house in 1903 was $950.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's probably like, I don't know, 1,800 square feet, and it had all these little add-ons. So, like, a front entryway door that would look like it came from the Gamble House in Pasadena. Take a guess how much it was in 1903.
Ooh.
Front door with three windows on the top, cloud lift,
Yeah.
molding. Take a guess.
I want to say 35.
$35. That's the answer, man.
Hey.
$35.
Well, in front of me just happens to have this old catalog. No, just joking.
Ah.
$35.
35
That's
bucks.
insane. Those dudes made about 20 to 40 cents an hour.
That's
Yep.
That's insane.
But
Yep.
Yeah.
times,
Right.
cost of living,
Right.
all
No,
that
it makes
stuff.
sense. Yeah.
Well, all
Pretty
I
good.
know is someone once told me, and I think this still holds true, is that like an ounce of gold in the 1880s would get you a decent suit. An ounce of gold today will get you a decent suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah,
It's nuts, man.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
somehow same
That's crazy.
is relative. It's just
It's pretty nuts.
Cool. Anyway, well, before we let you go, we got some questions you need to
Yeah.
answer. So
Let's have it.
these are the 5 questions you haven't answered,
Okay.
because I think we changed them since last time you were on
Mhm.
here. So I want to give you a shot at these. So number 1, what is your white well? The one thing you haven't made but always wanted to.
I was thinking about this. I would love to have just like a 20 by 20 or 30 by 30 tilt up shop that's detached,
Mm-hmm.
for making weird stuff, chairs, small tables, things like that.
yeah.
A place where you can go at 2 a.m. if you want. You're not going to bug anybody,
Yeah.
Right.
So a detached shop, I think, would be the white whale.
Well, okay. That's interesting. So it's not like a single project. That is a structure.
Well, yeah.
Would you timber
And-
frame it?
Yeah. I'm like, do you have the land for it? Like detail. Like
No, I mean, we're going to move in the next,
okay.
we're definitely going to move in
Okay.
the next few years, but nah, nothing fancy, like functional, man. Just like, I actually back up. I think it would be cool to do like a SIPs, like those structural insulated
Mhm,
panels,
right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
where it's like you can put it up in a day,
Yep.
and then it's kind of neat because like all the utilities and the electrical stuff is actually in the floor
Yep.
instead of the walls.
Yep.
So it's super easy to do. You can do like a crawl space. You don't need to blow the budget on a giant concrete slab. Although if money was no option, I'd do, probably a geothermal. So like a heated
Yeah.
in floor.
But I like
type of
the
thing.
the SIF idea. There's a lot more planning going in.
Oh,
The
dude, they're
design
so
has to
cool.
be damn precise, but then it goes together like a Lego set. Like
Oh,
it's super cool. I loved watching that stuff. And it's been years, because it kind of like got busier and busier. There's a shop not too far away from here that I saw they were producing and see it as I drove by, and it is really cool. I don't know the details, structurally, insulation, R value kind of stuff, but I think they're majorly beneficial to traditional,
mhm.
but again, they take a lot more front end design
Yeah,
to make sure it works out.
everything's CNC for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Also,
Yeah.
seeing those runs, those electric runs and stuff like in the walls from the base, like it makes it so clean, so relatively
Yeah.
simple. Like it's so cool.
hmm
Yeah,
also,
there's a YouTube channel I follow that's like prefab housing and
Oh,
stuff
sure.
like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, some of those places are just outstanding, and yeah, they go up
Yeah.
extremely fast.
They don't show you all the pre-work.
No, yeah. Well, they mentioned the pre-work and
Yeah,
stuff like that,
yeah.
but this
Yeah.
guy like goes around and just kind of reviews, different models
Mhm.
from different manufacturers. And I don't know, a couple of months ago, he went to basically a manufactured housing, mobile home type place, and showed some of their stuff, and I was like, that's pretty damn nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they had some interesting stuff, and I'm like going, interesting, because I've been threatening to move for, I don't know, 10 years now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway,
Next hurricane's gonna push you out, I swear.
I swear, yeah, I thought so the last time too, and I'm still here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
anyway, you get set in your ways. It's like one of those things. I've lived here, and I've lived in this house longer than I have anywhere else by a mile. So it's just like,
Wow.
you get attached sometimes. So anyway, so question number 2. What is your number 1 tip for fellow woodworkers?
I think 2 things. First one, kind of like we talked about with the cabinet scraper, like, dude, even in a commercial shop, sometimes the fastest and most accurate way to do it is with a hand tool. Like, it doesn't take, it takes skill to tune it. Yeah, it takes skill to set it up, but you can kind of find that online, right? It's just, you got to get it in your hand and play with it a little bit, and all of a sudden, once it clicks, it's like, what are we doing sanding for 3 hours? Look at this, 3 passes, and you're dead nuts. You're perfect. Yeah. So I think that's a really big one. I think the other one is
wait till you show them the card scraper.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. It's like, gosh, and there's even tricks for that. You can put a magnet on it, and it doesn't get like blazing hot. Like, there's all sorts of little things you can do for sure. So that's definitely one. I think another big one is, especially in the last couple years, is instructions are guidelines. They're not the way you need to do it. Like, the last couple pieces I did with Maloo foil, I was just super frustrated because I was doing it in the summer, and Kyle and Sean, and probably Brian too, when it's humid as hell, the stuff just, especially the first couple of coats, it just takes forever to flash off.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to, like, this is 2020, like, we're not in the Stone Ages. So I did a little research. I'm like, duh, Japan dryer. So the first 2 coats, I just add 10% Japan dryer. It kicks so fast. And it's funny because I think I learned about that from Alan Little, the owner of Very Super Cool Tools. You know that guy?
Yeah.
Super cool dude.
Yeah.
I talked to him a little bit, and it's like, oh yeah, the first couple of coats, because the concern is, oh, it's gonna weaken the strength of the finish. It's like, well, dude, there's 7 coats going on there. The first 2 are always the biggest pain in the ass, right? Because they just take forever to kick. So that's been a big one. And as far as that goes, because that's not in the instructions, of course.
Yeah.
I think the other one that really has been kind of cool is, I think I finally figured out Rubio. You guys ever use that?
I haven't. I've used Osmo.
Okay. So
it's expensive, but it's good.
Right. But also, there's, like, when you look at the complaints, those are very real. Like, if you follow the instructions, sand to 150. Okay. So if you got a nice figured tabletop and you sand to 150, that's going to look like absolute garbage, right? When the grain changes direction, when you hit some figure, 150 isn't going to seal that up. It's going to get dark. It's going to get blotchy, and it's probably going to get spots on it because that the finish isn't going to be able to protect it. It's not going to seal it to the point where it's doing its job. So that one big shelf I had to do, my last big commission, I just treated it like maloof foil. I went sanded up to 400. I burnished it with maroon, gray, and white Scotch-Brite, and then I buffed it with towels. I put Rubio on there, and I was like, whoa, this kind of looks amazing. And it wasn't quite as, it didn't quite have the luster that maloof foil did. So I'm like, I wonder if I could leave it on there a little bit longer and see what happens. So, Rubio, I think, says 5-10 minutes. I left that on there for 30. Buffed it off with a cordless sander, and there was a little haze on there because I wasn't able to get all the oil off there in one go. So I put a fresh one on there. It's incredible. And they say, oh, stuff doesn't stick to itself. It absolutely sticks to itself when you leave it on there for 30 minutes. So I did 3 coats, and again, great podcasting. I got this here. So this side is maloof foil, and this side is Rubio. You can't tell the difference.
No, you can't.
Oh,
This is 3 coats. This is 7 coats.
oh.
I don't know if you guys have ever used maloof foil before, but you go through about 3 cities worth of paper towels every time you do it. So the consumables that you use, it's kind of cool. So it's like, well, the whole point of that maloof foil finish or those hand applied finishes, sanding those crazy grits, is the clarity. You don't get that sanding to 150, right? So
Right.
And I did that 2 years ago on that commission. Haven't heard a call back from the client, so loves it. And then to follow that up, I actually made, I think the last post I did a highly figured little tiny side table, and I did it the same way. And it's like less than half the time, less than half the materials. Brian, to your point, yes, it is more expensive, but it's kind of awesome. Whether you're a hobbyist or a professional, if you could do stuff in half the time, why would you say no to that? It's like, I only get to put on 3 coats today. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. So I think that's a big one. So instructions or guidelines, and pick up those hand tools, man.
Yeah.
And get you out of trouble.
Cool. Well, I will, just ask the next question. I think you answered it, but anyway. So, what's your go-to finish?
It's with this new kind of maloof foil prep. I think it's Rubio for now. But I actually am super excited to hear you guys got sponsored by Sardlin Wells. I haven't seen a bad thing about it online. And you used it, Kyle. So
yeah,
I might have to toss that out the window and just go SW the whole way. But
now you need a 3-part test. You need the maloof, the Rubio.
Yeah, there you go.
Sardlin Wells.
There you go.
Compare, contrast, processes and
do a post
finish
on that.
and see what happens.
Video.
Yeah,
promote
that
it.
would be cool. That would be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fantastic. Well, so what kind of finishes are you using in your shop?
It's kind of interesting. So we use there's this really cool stuff called.
You said you had a finishing room, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So we've
got
got
conversion varnish type stuff, or
so some of it depends.
Yeah.
So again, some very high-end clients want 0 VOC, right? So it's all waterborne stuff.
Yeah.
And so there's Renner out of Italy. They're really good, but we've been using this stuff called Ilva, which is super cool, and it's the parquet finish. So the best way I can explain it is it is a waterborne finish, and it's a satin, but it almost looks like it's Danish oil, which is insane to be sprayed. You can spray 3 coats in a day. You got to do a vinyl sealer before, clearly, but it's really, really cool. So I really like that stuff. Ilva's solvent-borne stuff is super good, but again, depending on where you're at with that, kind of up to the consumer. But yeah, we use all sorts of stuff. Mainly it's funny because my whole life I've always used Sherwin-Williams, Aqua, Sherwood conversion varnish, stuff like that, and that's what my dad always used. And these guys are all Hirschfields, so it's all Chemcraft. So it's kind of the Ford and Chevy type of thing.
You're right, exactly.
It's the Chevy stuff's kind of nice. After using it a little bit, I'm like, I don't know, Sherwin-Williams. You can make some nice stuff, but this Chemcraft is kind of nice stuff. So, anyways.
Cool. So do y'all have a dedicated person in your shop that does the finishing?
Yeah. He's amazing. He's been doing it for 25 years, and just one of those dudes that just knows so much. It's like, oh, why don't you do it this way? It's like, oh, hold the thing like that. And it's like, then you feel so silly because you're like, oh, duh. You know, why would you? Why would I do it the way I was doing it, idiot?
Yep.
But yeah, it's super cool, dude. So yeah, we kind of have our own thing. The guy I replaced, I feel super grateful, but also super intimidated. He was like the guy that does the complicated finished ends or fillers or like complex work or like the furniture. And the last thing he did was like a 25-foot dining table or a conference table that had a high gloss finish all out of teak, and it is like in the Chrysler building in New York. So I'm just walking in, I'm like, oh, sorry guys. Like, I know how to make a chair, but you got to kind of train me a little bit on some of this other stuff. But again, because I mean, woodworking is woodworking, right? If you need to miter fold something, just go slow, make sure you're perfect, and then go. Don't rush.
Right.
So it's kind of that balance of take the time to spend the effort to do this, spend the effort on the things that need to be super dead nuts, and get to good enough on the stuff that no one's going to see.
Right.
So yeah. And that's hard to do as a chair maker because you're like, hey, the bottom's got to look as good as the top, buddy.
Exactly.
That's it.
Like,
That's
no
it.
one's going to see that little.
Those are called
tiny-
witness marks. You show the underside.
Yeah.
Show your work.
Like I was a 16th off on that webbing. It's like no one cares. Their butt goes
Yeah,
on
no
it,
one
you know?
cares.
Yeah. But anyway, kind of silly. But.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, so what do you got working on in the future? What do you got future goals? You said you're going to move. I guess that would be a big future goal.
Yeah, that is a big one. I still have a set of dining chairs I have to finish up. I'm working on a kind of cool plant stand that's gonna this is a crazy shape. So it's like a trapezoidal shape that's gonna be bent laminated, and then it'll have shop sawn veneer, which I have all ready to go. I just got to get in the bag. So it's gonna be like basically the person said they wanted to have something that you can look at it, and then when you close your eyes, you still see it. I'm like, oh, is this really something I want to do? But it's going to be cool. So it's going to be wood very similar to this crazy like curly ash type of stuff. So it's
very cool.
Yeah. Anyways, that's the next thing, but we'll see. I think after summertime, we should slow down to the point where I can do some more stuff on my own. But from now on, I mean, from now until probably mid-July, it's kind of just head down, making weird stuff for the shop.
Well, so your Finnish guy at work, can you slip him like a 20 and sneak some of your stuff in there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I certainly could.
That is cool. That is cool.
That's a cool spot.
Well, let's move on to our fortnightly beer choices. So I'm drinking something I haven't had before that's actually pretty good. Of course, it's from Dogfish Head, which, anything they make is usually pretty good.
Come on now.
And it's the Grateful Dead Juicy Pale Ale. And it's pretty cool. I was walking through our local beer store, and they said, new arrival. So I went, I'll take some. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So
good choice.
I'm going to have to look for that.
Yeah, it's not bad. And it's relatively low on alcohol. It's only 5.3%. So.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
They usually are a little heavier than that.
Yeah, exactly. When I saw that, I went, oh, this is perfect podcast beer. Because they had another one that I may pick up for this weekend that was like a Imperial Stout that was 8.3%.
Dogfish Imperial Stout?
No. This is a different brand.
Different. Okay.
Okay. I'll report back.
That's on the Imperial Stouts, that might be on the low level. I've definitely had 12 and 13.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's like wine. Jeez.
It is.
Yeah.
But you know what? You have one, and it might take you an hour and a half. That's a slow sipper. That's not a just drop it back kind of pour it on your throat kind of. You take your time.
Exactly. So Brian, what are you drinking?
So I'm drinking a beer called Blind Pig. And I was just reading the can here, or a bottle. I did not know this, that a blind pig is a Prohibition era term for a speakeasy. So if you got nothing else out of the show, now you know.
Now you know.
It's good. It's like it's an IPA. It's got a little bit of a citrusy hint to it. Not quite like a Kyle's juicy thing there, but I like it. It's this is a California beer. I can't get this on the East Coast, but if you got friends in far places, it's nice to do a beer exchange on occasion. So if you can get your hand on this, it's well worth it.
Awesome.
I'll have to remember that. My best friend, who's not exactly, but within 2 weeks, 10 years older than me, is having his 70th birthday party in August. And it's a prohibition thing. Him, his wife, and one of their friends set up, and it's, band, whole 9 yards. So it should be interesting.
Yeah, that would be cool.
One of my neighbors has an authentic Tommy gun. If you want to do the whole gangster thing, so
can you ship that across state lines at this point? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's Texas. They don't care.
They don't care. They don't care. Yeah. I don't know if I want to walk in with the authentic Tommy gun. That's probably at least a $5,000 gun.
When the
maybe more than that.
When the drum is loaded, that damn thing's heavy.
Oh yeah.
I bet.
Sean, what are you drinking?
I got to step it down from you guys. Dogfish, Russian River, man. I got Miller Lite, house beer, baby. Nothing special here. Andy, how about you, buddy?
Last time I felt kind of bad because I had the Budweiser leftovers, the Golden Light. So today, I actually went and got some nice beer. It's called Fashion Mullet.
Oh, nice!
I like
the
that
can looks like Hulk Hogan in like 1987. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah, or Brian Bosworth. I can see that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, kind of cool.
Yep.
But anyway, it's from Lupin Brewing, and that's actually from Minnesota. Big Lake, and Big Lake is kind of a hillbilly town, so it's kind of cool. It's a mullet.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
So there you go.
That is cool.
Not too bad. It's juicy.
Very good.
Fantastic. Well, so Andy, where can folks find you on the interwebs?
You can find me at swellfurniture.com. That's my website. You can find me at Swell Furniture on Instagram or on TikTok.
Fantastic. Well, let's move on to our feedback. So who do we have to thank this week?
All right, we have quite a bit here since we've
settle in, folks. Settle in.
I'm over here stretching, so we're good. All right, so let's get started.
It's been a while since we recorded, so we got some catch ups to do.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start at episode 553 when Luke Barnett was on the show. This was his interview episode. Our buddy Chef Moraes says it's no secret that my favorite podcast of all time is the MWA podcast. Every episode is awesome, and I constantly recommend it to my woodworking friends. This one is special, though. Luke is a warrior, an inspiration, and a role model to life. This is one I'll be recommending to everyone. Bravo, my friend, with 1, 2, 3 clap emojis. So, thanks, Chef.
Yes, thanks so much.
Heard, Chef.
Yeah.
I think we read some more feedback on that episode, but this one came in since our break. So Chef's catching up.
Yes, he's a busy guy.
Yeah.
All right. So Luke Barnett's 5 questions episode, which is episode 554. A comment here from Driftless Joinery. It says, it's more of a question. It says, what options are there after the 5-year warranty is over on that coating?
So I responded back to him a couple times. We got into it. All good stuff. But he runs a school, of course, and so we were talking about the new coating that Jet put on their tools that they've been using on Powermatic. And his big thing is, hey, I got a bunch of students banging around on these tools, and what happens is that coating wears off, and there's only a 5-year warranty on this thing and stuff like that. I told him, that's a good point. It's probably not meant for those types of environments, because I think some of the testing, we run wood over this, like 10,000 times or something like that.
Sure.
Well, you might get a lot more than that in 5 years in a school.
So
he was putting the point that, he bought some tools right before they started doing this coating, just so it wouldn't be on there. So, he knew he was dealing just with cast iron. So, so it's a good point.
That's fair.
Yep.
Okay. And another feedback here for Luke's 5-question episode comes from the Hail Fellow Craftsman. So he says, I got a lot out of this one. Great follow-up from the full podcast.
Awesome.
So that's the feedback from Luke. Then moving on here to episode 555, our friend Frank Straza came back on the show. Very entertaining guy, extremely well-traveled, well-educated, and his dovetails are just something else. So from our friend here, Heartwood Woodshop, it's always such a joy hearing Frank talk about marquetry. He is so passionate, it's actually infectious. And another comment here is from Robert Tolnai. that says, this podcast is going to be awesome. I am looking forward to listening, and hopefully he did.
Good premonition. Well,
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and our buddy Chef Maurice is back again. He says, "Oh my God, spoken like a good Catholic man that I am." I'm over here doing the Italian hand gesture. Actually, since we recorded last, we do Pope, so this is kind of timely.
Yeah.
I feel like I just attended a graduate level class in art history and woodworking combined. An amazing episode. Frank Straza is definitely one of the masters of our craft. Forza Frank.
Forza Frank. I like that. That's pretty cool.
Then we have same episode here from Joe Robert Bass. Says, excellent show and count me in for the Italian tour of woodwork. Seriously, thanks Straza Furniture for sharing your discoveries.
Yeah, could you imagine we put together like if Frank has connections and we go back as like a collective?
Oh, it would be fantastic.
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah.
The history. Oh.
Well, to see some of the stuff, we got to sit through mass, so we could like take up an entire pew of
I
woodworkers.
promise no lightning
staring up at that.
You know?
Yeah, I'm sure there would be stories about us for sure for a long time.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right, next one here for Frank Straza's episode is from D Hart. It's just a clap emoji. Thank you, D. And then from Michael Maskeli Upholsterer, says highly recommended.
I like it.
And then moving on here, our final one is regarding episode 556 for Brian Creno, our producer friend, from Obst Woodworker. Do you guys know him? He's a funny guy.
Oh yeah,
He's awesome.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, he's been on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the show a couple.
You met us
6 months ago or so. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, we know him. We know him.
Anyways, if you don't know him, go to his Instagram. He keeps it real. He shows mistakes and everything like that.
I love it.
I appreciate it.
And he's working in Florida and he's sweating like.
Yeah.
I know.
Love it.
He's a crazy guy. Crazy guy.
But he says, great episode, and I can't wait for June for the movie to come out. That's regarding Brian's a movie producer, and it's a comedy horror, right? If I'm
Yes.
Yep. Comedy horror. Yeah. He's the writer and director of the movie, and it's called "I Don't Understand You." Yes.
Yep.
I think it's coming out June 6th. So.
Yep. I think that's the date. My whole family watched it. If you didn't hear that episode, find it. It's gonna come out. It's a fun little movie. It's not serious. It's farcical. Although we found out in that interview that it's kind of biographical. Just in some ways, not all.
Yeah. Just nobody was hurt. No
one was hurt in the true story.
Yeah.
But really cool tie-ins if you hear that. Like his family was involved and just really kind of interesting to hear the mind of a director / writer. And he's also a woodworking fiend. I actually told the guys I work with, like the machinery he has on the 3rd floor of his house should never be on the 3rd floor of a house. Like at any moment, a very, very heavy bandsaw could just come crashing down. It's going to be terrible. All that's talked about. Go listen to episode 550 if you haven't already.
All right. So if you would like to leave us some feedback on any episode, the best place probably to do it is on our MWA Instagram. You can also leave it on any of our individual Instagrams as well, and we will try and incorporate it into the show. You can also leave us a rating on your podcast stream of choice, including iTunes. Giving like a 5-star rating will help get the show out in front of other people.
And that just about wraps it up for this show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show on the podcatcher of your choice. Just search for the Modern Woodworkers Association. And while you're there, please leave us a review. You can follow us on Instagram at MWA_podcast. And if you'd like to support the podcast, go over to patreon.com/MWA podcast. But the best thing you can do is tell a friend. Word of mouth goes a long way in sharing our discussion.